input.
What is up, my purposeful people? Welcome back to my channel. It has been a long time. It has been a full year and some change. I understand that falling off is okay, and I have given myself a little bit of grace for doing so because I knew I would jump back on if this is something I was really passionate about and God was calling me to do. So I am back. I hope you all are well. I am well. Today marks 2 years and 2 months since I locked my hair. And one thing I've noticed in the past year since my most recent video is that I won't be able to create content at the speed and capacity of which I was doing it in the same way I was doing it before. Before, I was explaining all of my hacks and tricks and everything I was doing, but really from year 1 to year 2, I can tell you that I made a conscious decision to not do a lot of styles and a lot of manipulation to my hair. If you watch in some of my older videos, you'll see that I'm like, my goal is to have thick locks. I was very intentional, minimal styling, minimal retwists, minimal manipulation, and just letting it be. I watch back on some of the older videos and I laugh because I'm like, wow, you were not embarrassed by your hair at all? But then I look back at it and I'm like, it was not cute. But now that I think about it, a lot of times people were like, how long do you think you're going to let your locks last? And how long do you think you're going to keep them in? And do you think you would ever comb them out? Lots of questions leading me to giving up and quitting on this lock journey. And, you know, my response would usually be like, oh no, I don't see that happening anytime soon, and not really thinking much more of it. And now, when I'm at a place where my locks are gorgeous and I get more compliments on my locks and I feel like they're really filling into their mature stage, the comments and questions have changed. Like, oh, like, how are you going to style them? Like, how are you going to do it? It's more positive outlook questions than like, are you going to give up? I mean, like, I get it. They weren't the cutest at that time, but it really just goes to show that like the process and the journey that you go through, the doing of the work is not the prettiest moment, because a lot of people don't understand the vision behind what you're doing, and they focus so much on the details and the process of what you're doing that you just have to ignore the noise. You have to eliminate the noise from everyone. When you're working on something and you know the vision that you have and God has set in your mind, and you know the goal that you are trying to achieve, stick with it. You can allow people to say what they want, because regardless, they're going to do it anyway. So learn to get to a point where you're like, okay, because it doesn't matter. They are not going to see the vision, and eventually, more often than not, they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, your hair is so beautiful, it looks gorgeous, or whatever you're working on in that moment. People come back and applaud you for all the work that you put in because they now see the vision that you were creating. And it just gives you that much more motivation to continue working on the next goal, the next vision, or continue working in the craft that you have now. With that being said, it was really hard for me to document these moments because you have to talk, you have to share, you have to, you know, bring people along the journey in what you're experiencing. And I would say within the past year, I didn't really notice a lot of change in my locks. Now, when I watch videos and look at old pictures, I definitely see the change, but after I reached the point where I was like, I just kind of have to let my locks go, I was like, I don't really have a lot to say. It took a lot of self-reflecting and realization that my channel is called Styles with Purpose. And I didn't say how to live with locks with purpose. It's called Styles with Purpose. And I like that it gives me option to do whatever type of style I want, whether that's a hairstyle, a clothing style, a lifestyle. I'm doing it for me. So this is me documenting this first for myself, because I love being able to look back and see real growth and not just look at a picture and be like, what was happening during this time? I have full documentation. At least all of my videos are 5 minutes long, 5 or more minutes long. I'd say all of them are like at the shortest 10 minutes. And that is so valuable to me a year down the line. I'm coming back, I'm watching it, and it's like, girl, you you are progressing and doing better. Someone I used to know, they used to always say, I'm not a grown, well, it was a man, but I'm going to change the words to woman. I'm not a grown woman, I'm a growing woman. And what? Every single day it reminds me, like, girl, you're not done. You are still growing, you're still learning, you are still working. And if I ever put myself in a position to stop learning and educating myself and retaining knowledge, then I guess that means I believe I'm grown. But I don't think I'll ever feel fully grown, even when I'm 98 years old and living my best life. So, we're all growing people, we're not grown. Anytime somebody comes and acts grown, just, yeah, we're growing, we're learning. And then anytime someone tries to attach me to a label or a way that they identified me as in the past, I just shrug it off. Okay. Oh well. I have gotten more opinions about me from other people in the past, I'd say 5 years, where I have seen like real change in how I'm responding to these opinions, because in the past I'm like, there's no way you think that, that's not who I am, really defending the way I view myself. And then now, when people voice their opinions about me and what they think I'm gonna do or how they perceive me to be, I'm just like, girl, okay. Do you? I have stopped defending myself, because regardless of how often you defend yourself in a situation, you can't change people's minds about the way they perceive you. You can change yourself, and then people may change their own minds about how they perceive you. But I feel like explaining to someone like, that's not who I am, that's not what I do anymore, it can be like a real big time waster in my eyes. Now, if this is you and you feel that you should continue to express the type of person you are and what you do so that other folks can understand, then it works for you, by all means keep doing it. But for me, I have learned that that does not work for me. And I would say in the past year, I've been really big on self-reflecting and self-analysis and figuring out, I'd say I've been more in a place of figuring out what isn't for me and what I don't like. And instead of just staying in that negative space of being like, I hate that, don't want to do that, don't like that, I then switch the thought process to, okay, but what am I turning this into? So if I wake up and scroll on my timeline first thing in the morning, instead of saying like, social media is not for me, like I'm not doing social media anymore, I have then replaced it with what I plan to do instead of that. Instead of waking up and scrolling on my timeline and seeing old classmates, friends, roommates, family, everybody, I do a whole lot more for me. So stay confident in being like, girl, no, you are not going to be spoken to before I pray, before I talk to God, before I do my morning devotion, before I brush my teeth, before I floss my teeth, and before I take my morning poop. No. It's not happening, because when I do those things every single morning, it gives me the strength and energy to talk to you and hang out with you and spend time with you, because I have done what gives me my je ne sais quoi, like my drive, my me. Why I show up as me every single day is because I put me first. And I commit to doing stuff that may not always be the most fun routine or like be as easy to maintain, but when I do it, I have a hell of a lot better of a day than when I'm waking up and responding to somebody's message and saying good morning and going through the timeline and seeing how somebody is doing their post that they do for Motivational Mondays, because their motivation may not be my motivation. My motivation is waking up, doing my routine, and then starting my day. I've now incorporated walks into my routine. This is a new thing because in April of 2022, I broke my ankle. Like, real life, snapped my fibula, and it was severed like this. And so morning walks were not a possibility for me. I went through something super big And throughout the time of repairing my ankle, I was learning things that were not for me and then other things that were for me. But being broken, oh gosh, why do I always say it like that? Having my broken ankle or repairing ankle, there were so many times where I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. No, I don't want to do it. And it forced me to set boundaries with people that I had no clue that I even had the power to set, because I come from a history of a family that is sometimes very passive and people pleasing, and I didn't realize this. So sometimes I show up for people in ways where I'm like, I get there and I'm like, why am I here? What am I doing? I don't want to do this. So it just gave me like a time to step back and be like, no. It seems like a lot of work for me to do. My ankle's gonna be tired and I'm not into it. But it's just like you get to make conscious decisions about what you want to do. So I told myself that once I was back on 2 feet again, I will be setting boundaries. I will be making conscious decisions to not do what I don't want to do, figure out what is not for me, and then figure out how to channel that and make the life that I want to live. So you will probably be seeing less videos of me doing my hair, styling my hair. Now, this does not mean that hair will not be a part of my channel. That is why I solely created this channel. And I'm finding there are a lot of things that I was doing in the past with like my natural curls that I'm still able to do with my locks. So I will definitely be incorporating that into my videos, but you'll also see a whole lot more of me talking and documenting my life for me, and going through the list of things that are not for me and what I am replacing them with and how I'm doing it. So I am excited to embark on this journey with you all. I'm excited to be back and share with you what this past year has looked like for me, how I have overcome a lot of things I've experienced, things I've gone through, while still protecting and preserving my peace and energy and everything that I stand for, but documenting it to a point where I'm helping myself so that I can self-reflect, watch back on things, and hopefully help other people as they watch these videos as well. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you want to be notified every single time I post a video. There's a little bell icon. You can just click that and it'll notify you every time I post a new video. Now, I say this every time, set a goal for the day, achieve that goal, because good enough isn't. Thank you all again for joining me back on my channel, and I will see you all soon. Thanks. Bye.
Because you push play.